Breaking news! Things are getting heated behind the scenes for the Miami Dolphins. The situation surrounding Tyreek Hill has officially reached a boiling point, and for many Miami Dolphins fans, it's no longer just about what's happening on the field. It's the repeated headlines off the field, the ongoing drama, and now a domestic dispute that paint a very troubling picture for a franchise desperately trying to turn things around and build a winning culture. In my opinion, the Dolphins should release this guy soon. Tyreek Hill has done what he had to do here. They need to build a roster with serious players to even think about making it to the playoffs. If you agree with me, hit the like button. If possible, comment with your opinion. Should Hill go, or should he stay? According to reports in Miami and an official police report, Hill was involved in a domestic dispute at his Sunny Isles Beach condo, an incident that triggered a full-scale police response. The details are deeply troubling. An argument with his wife, Kia Hill, escalated to the point where, according to the police report, Hill threw a laptop, grabbed their baby and began walking toward the balcony. Kia Hill and her mother, Alicia Vaccaro, gave statements to police, with Vaccaro calling Hill aggressive and impulsive and expressing fears for her daughter's safety, concerns so strong that she moved in with them after the baby was born. This wasn't an isolated outburst. Kia Hill told police that arguments had become frequent, that Tyreek often responded to disagreements by throwing objects, and even mentioned that they had been attending couples therapy which, unfortunately, wasn't improving the situation. She revealed she's now in the process of filing for divorce, and even though both parties claimed the altercation did not become physical, police documented a bruise on Kia Hill's chest, allegedly caused unintentionally when Hill took the baby from her. Hill defended his actions by claiming his rights as a father, stating he had just returned from training and was trying to discuss therapy with his wife. But here's the thing, the details, the pattern, the timing, none of it sits right anymore. This isn't the first controversy tied to Hill, and the unfortunate reality is, it might not be the last. From his days with the Kansas City Chiefs, through college, and now in Miami, off-the-field issues have followed him like a shadow he just can't outrun. And at this point, fans and the organization alike are left asking, how much more is too much? The Dolphins, who have preached culture change and accountability under Mike McDaniel and owner Stephen Ross, are now caught in a complicated financial and public relations web. On paper, Hill is electric, one of the most dangerous wideouts in the game. But when the headlines keep coming for all the wrong reasons, the talent starts to take a back seat. Miami finds itself stuck between moral obligation and financial logistics. If the Dolphins trade him now, they lose cap space. If they wait until after June 1st, they could save around $15 million. Cut him next year and they're looking at $36.3 million in savings. But every day they wait, the organization's image continues to take a hit. There's growing sentiment that the Dolphins need to act fast. Move on. Trade him. Accept the cap hit if it means regaining control over the team's culture and sending a message that no one is above the standard. Yet, the cold reality of NFL economics is that Hill's trade value has plummeted. You're not getting a first-round pick, maybe not even a second, maybe a third, if you're lucky, and certainly not before the draft. The market for a superstar wide receiver with a growing list of off-field issues and a fat contract is shrinking rapidly. This has put Miami in a brutal spot. Fans want resolution. The locker room needs clarity. The front office has to choose between short-term pain and long-term culture. Meanwhile, Tyreek Hill, once again, is in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. And there's no hiding from it this time. It's not a minor headline or a social media blip. This is serious. It's emotional. It involves a child. And regardless of how unintentional or non-physical it may be classified, the damage to Hill's reputation and to the Dolphins is very real. So now what? Waddle, Eric Ezukanma, and rookie Malik Washington, sure, that's a solid receiver room. But it's not the same without Hill, not even close. However, maybe it doesn't need to be. Maybe it's time to build a team that doesn't rely on someone who can't seem to keep his name out of the wrong headlines. Maybe it's time for the Dolphins to finally say enough is enough. What do you think, Dolphins fans? Has the time come to move on from Tyreek Hill, or should the team hold firm and wait things out? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is a conversation we all need to be part of. The conversation around Tyreek Hill is no longer just about yards, touchdowns, or his explosive impact on the field. It's about the character of this team and the standard it wants to uphold. Miami Dolphins fans have been through enough. We've watched seasons crumble from injuries, questionable coaching decisions, and roster misfires. But this is different. This is about more than football. This is about trust, integrity, and setting a precedent. And let's be real, this situation didn't just come out of nowhere. The red flags have been waving for years. From college incidents to his time in Kansas City and now a continued pattern in Miami, there's a consistent cloud hanging over Tyreek Hill. Every few months, it's something else. Not community leadership, not team-first moments, but legal issues, personal drama, and headlines that make Dolphins fans cringe instead of cheer. The front office can't just sit idle anymore. Fans are watching. The locker room is watching. Players like Tua Tagovailoa, Christian Wilkins, Jalen Phillips, they're all watching how this is handled. Because culture isn't just built through wins, it's built through actions and accountability. You don't change a franchise by talking about being different. You show it. And in this moment, doing nothing would say more than any statement ever could. Yes, the contract is massive. Yes, the cap situation is tight. But let's not forget, keeping him, hoping things smooth over, carries its own risks. What happens if another incident occurs during the season? What if the NFL does come down with a multi-game suspension, which is very much on the table? How does that affect chemistry, momentum, morale, and more importantly, how does that reflect on the organization that chose to look the other way? Again, right now, the Dolphins have two options: take the financial hit and deal with the short-term consequences, or delay the inevitable and risk even deeper damage to the team's culture and public image. Trading Tyreek Hill post-June 1st seems like the only viable path if you're trying to regain cap flexibility while sending a clear message. But it won't be easy. Teams aren't lining up to take on that kind of risk, not with everything surrounding him and not with that contract. And for those fans still clinging to the hope that his on-field value outweighs the off-field chaos, ask yourself this: when was the last time Tyreek Hill made headlines for the right reasons? When was the last time you felt confident he was going to be a foundational piece, not just because of his speed, but because of his leadership? This team is trying to build something bigger than one player. And no matter how electric he is with the ball in his hands, it's becoming clearer with each report, each statement, and each police file that Tyreek Hill might be more of a liability than an asset. It's also worth noting what's brewing behind him. Jalen Waddle continues to develop into a star. Malik Washington, the rookie, has impressed early. Cedric Wilson Jr. could still contribute. And if Hill is moved, that opens the door to a deeper investment in players who actually want to be part of this locker room, who understand what's at stake, and who represent the franchise the right way. Mike McDaniel has already laid the foundation. He's called out lateness. He's raised the standard. He's addressed culture head on. But now comes the real test. Will the front office back him up? Will they prove that no one, not even a superstar, is above the rules? That's how you build a real contender. That's how you make Miami more than just a playoff team. That's how you turn this franchise into a legitimate powerhouse, not by holding onto the past, but by making the tough decisions that shape the future. So again, I'll leave it to you, Dolphins fans. What's next? Is it finally time to move on from Tyreek Hill? Can you stomach the short-term cap pain if it means cleaning up the image of the team? Or do you believe there's still a way to salvage this situation without tearing apart the locker room? Hit the comments. This is your team. This is your moment to voice what kind of Dolphins franchise you want to root for moving forward. Let's talk about it.